All right, my beloved Madridistas, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Madrid on a beautiful Sunday morning. Okay, I want to give you guys my thoughts on the derby tonight at the Metropolitano. In the video we did yesterday with Hugo, Hugo and I actually talked about the match, but it was at the end of the video, the part that didn't get recorded. Sorry about that. But I did want to leave you my thoughts in terms of the match and sort of, look, it'll be a short video, but I want to give you sort of the 5 keys that I think are essential to winning. We have a very poor track record at the stadium. We all know what happened last year. But let me give you my thoughts on sort of what we need to do to turn that trend around and to come out with a victory. All right, listen, thank you for joining me as always. Let's get started. Hey, Madridistas, welcome back to the channel. Okay, let's talk about the derby tonight, which is going to be really, really intense. Now, Atleti, their style of play, ever since Simeone arrived at Atletico de Madrid, I think 12 or 13 years ago, something along those lines, they've sort of perfected a very particular style of play. It's a style of play that we find quite difficult at times. They play a very high energy, very defensive, very intense pressing, very direct, kind of almost chaotic football at times. They're a team that expends a huge amount of energy at pressing the ball. They like to sort of create chaos, and in that disruption, they find opportunities, they find space, they try to put bodies into the box and try to get balls into the box, catching defenses off guard. So they tend to be very quick, very direct. And like I say, it's a very physical style of play, a very defensive, very aggressive. And that, has historically been problematic at times. And, we know what happened last year. I mean, the only 2 matches that we lost last year were at the Wanda Metropolitano to Atleti. So it is a very tricky style of play. And so, considering that, what is it that I think we need to do to win this match? Okay, I think there's sort of 5 keys. The first kind of most important one is we need to pack the midfield. Okay, now I envision, I don't think we're going to play a 4-3-3 the way that we do at home against sort of, lesser opposition. I think this is going to be, as I mentioned, they're going to put a lot of pressure on the ball. And it's very important to have a lot of bodies in the midfield because when you receive the ball against Atletico de Madrid, you have very, very little time. You're going to get pressed very quickly, very aggressively, and it's important to have support in the short spaces. So, the long ball opportunities are always there, but they're there when you have a little bit more time on the ball. That's unlikely to be the case very often, at least at the beginning of the match where I expect a lot of intensity. So it's very important to have a lot of bodies in the midfield. So I think we should play. I'll tell you what I think we should do. And I hope, Ancelotti sort of has the same thinking. I think we'll play a 4-4-2, with more bodies in the midfield so that when we receive the ball, we can oxygenate it short and absorb some of that pressure that is going to be pretty intense at the beginning. Now, I was discussing it with Hugo yesterday, and we were talking about the formation. And he said something I think is very true. I said, well, what do you expect in terms of formation? And he said, look, I think Mbappe's injury is a perfect excuse to go back to the 4-4-2 that was so successful last year. And I think that's what we'll do. So in terms of formation, this is what I'm expecting. Okay, there are a couple of possibilities. This is what I would suggest. And there are variations of this that Ancelotti could consider, but these are sort of the 2 options that I think we'll see. Look, Camavinga, in the press conference, Ancelotti said that Camavinga was ready to play, could potentially play 90 minutes or play 0. But he is coming off an injury, and when you haven't played in a few weeks, I would be surprised to see him start from the beginning. So I do expect Cama on the bench. But the 2 options that I do envision are sort of variations of a 4-4-2. So I think the first kind of possibility would be sort of a double pivot where you would have, Tchouaméni and Fede in that kind of double pivot position. You could push Jude off to the left, which he does, quite often in a 4-4-2 formation. And if you have another midfielder on the right, I think Arda Güler would be very suited for that. That's one possibility. And of course, with Tchouaméni and Fede as double pivots, you have a lot of muscle in front of the defense, which is something that I think we need. Another possibility would be sort of a semi-diamond formation, where you have Tchouaméni right in front of the defense and Modric hovering around that area as well. And then you have Jude playing a kind of false number 9, which was so effective, last year. So he would play sort of, as a number 9, you have Fede on the right, Modric kind of drifting a little bit left in front of Tchouaméni, and Tchouaméni kind of in that holding position in front of the defense. But in any case, we do need 4 midfielders. I'm quite adamant about that, and I hope that's what he sort of opts for. Now, the second really important thing is we have to concentrate a lot on aerial balls and set pieces. I mean, look at the goals last year. This is a team that has strengthened very well. They've actually recruited very good players, I think, in the offseason. Sorloth, who is a natural striker, a very, very good striker, scored an incredible amount of goals last year. Julian Alvarez. They, of course, also have Alvarez. And then they have, tall defenders that can participate as well in set pieces. So I think it's very, very important that we maintain concentration in aerial balls and set pieces. Importantly, I think it's important to avoid the crosses. We need our left back and our right back. Carva and Mendy are going to have to do a very good job of just impeding those crosses into the box, because these guys are very, very dangerous in the air. Okay, number 3, I think, given, I've been to the Metropolitano a few times, and I have friends who are Atletico supporters, and, they invite me and I invite them to the Bernabeu. And look, the atmosphere, it's a beautiful stadium, great sort of atmosphere around the area, etc. It's a very intense place to play in. It is very much a pressure cooker. The crowd, puts an enormous amount of pressure to the players on the pitch. And I think it's very important, and this I would say is key number 3, don't let them score in the first 20 minutes. You cannot let them score in the first 20 minutes, because last year we were unable to come back from that, because once they go ahead, this is a team that shuts down really, really well. They defend very well as a block. They're very disruptive. They really know how to disrupt play. And so if you go down against Atleti, it's really, really hard to come back. And that's been the case historically against them. So especially in the first 20 minutes, when these guys are going to come, they're going to come out, balls out with a massive amount of intensity. We need to hold possession in those 20 minutes, control the tempo, the rhythm of play, and let the game subside a little bit, and try to work ourselves into the match. But don't try not to take the first goal, and certainly not in the first 20 minutes, which is when the real high intensity is going to be there. Okay, number 4. And this is especially important if we manage to score first, which I think is really important. But we need a very quick transition to the wings. Okay, if we're going to play a 4-4-2, we know that Vini and Rodrigo are going to be hugging the sidelines. They're going to play quite wide. But they're very quick players. They're very good one-on-one. They can create a huge amount of danger, especially if you've got Jude coming in that middle channel. So I think it's very important to have a very quick transition, try to catch them off guard with less bodies in the back, and utilize that space to create opportunities. Now, if we score first, the game kind of comes to us a little bit, because if Atleti pushes forward, I think this is something favorable to us. I think playing the counter against Atleti, I think we're quite effective, and we have the tools to really hurt them. So get the ball to the wings quickly. The transition play has to be fast. We need to catch them on one-on-ones. Our forwards are Vini and Rodrigo are much speedier than their defenders, and I think that's going to be the key to creating chances. Okay, number 5, and this is quite important as well. We can't take the bait. Okay, this crowd is going to do, and probably the refs as well, are going to try to do everything in their power to get us to lose our concentration, to get us to react. They're going to try to bait us. The crowd is going to be very intense. They're going to be, we need Vini. Number 5 is Vini. Don't take the bait. We need Vini to concentrate, to not react to provocations. The refs will be provoking him, I'm sure. The Atleti players will be provoking him. The crowd will be provoking him. We need Vini to really, really concentrate. I've defended him a lot because I think that, what Vini has done wrong is nothing in comparison to the abuse he's received. I mean, to me, this is a completely asymmetrical equation. And I've supported Vini a lot, but I do think that in situations like this, when you know that you're going to be baited, you need to keep your focus and you need to concentrate. So it's very important that we finish this match with 11 men. And that depends a lot on Vini's ability to stay calm and to stay professional and to stay focused on the play and not any other distraction. I think that's going to be very important. And just as a side note, I was watching Osasuna Barça last night, and I mean, that's a whole other video right there. But there were at least 20 situations in terms of players protesting that were worse than any of the 7 yellow cards Real Madrid players have received in the last 2 matches for protesting. I mean, I think there was 1 yellow card given last night for protesting in the Osasuna Barça match. There were at least 20 situations where I saw players, throwing their hands up and yelling at the ref, and nothing happened to them. Absolutely nothing happened to them. But of course, if we so much as, just say something, it's going to be a yellow card. So we need to be very careful. And Vini, of course, please don't take the bait. So look, those I think are the kind of keys to this match. It's going to be super, super tense. It's not a style of opponent that we're very comfortable with. But I think that if we sort of can follow these 5 things, I think we'll have a much better chance of winning. So anyway, those are my thoughts on the derby tonight. I wanted to share those with you, and I'll obviously come back tomorrow with my thoughts and analysis of the match itself. So thanks for being with me. As always, love you guys, and as always, a la Madrid.